Hello, my name is Ryan Deem, and today I'm going to be demoing a Python to Microsoft Access and Excel data pipeline. And what I'll be trying to do for the most part is to get this dashboard here, these three charts and this pivot table, to get them updated at a real-time pace. So eventually the numbers in these fields here should be updating every 2 seconds or so. And this is just information that has been generated randomly, essentially. So orders are being placed in Python, and I'll show that here. So the Python code brings in the database connection, and then it connects to a Microsoft Access database, and then there's an infinite loop that it created that will insert this information here, like what type of item is being purchased in an individual order, and then the color of the item and the size, and then that gets run as a query into the Microsoft Access database, and it runs it pretty quickly, between a half second and 1 second at a random interval. And what we'll be doing now is we can look at the dashboard here, and this information is all connected to these pivot tables. So we have items by color, which goes to this chart here, and then day to day goes to this pivot table here, and then the top 10 customers goes to this pivot table, and all these pivot tables are dependent on this data table in this tab here. So this data table connects to the Access database through Microsoft Excel itself, so you can get the connection established, and then I wrote a macro that does the updating. So when the macro starts running, it will do an infinite loop every 2 seconds. So it will refresh all the charts on the page and also the data table, and it should update these numbers at a regular interval. So the way we can get this ball rolling is we can start the macro now, actually, and let's go here. So it gets called from, supposed to be when the workbook opens, but I could play with the display button. So let's get that going. And so it has trouble accessing the database initially, so you just end it, and then actually let me get rid of the scroll bars real quick. Options. So we can just clean this up a little, go into advanced display, and get rid of the scroll bar. Even the tabs we can get rid of. So just hide some stuff, because graphically it makes the scroll bars go wacky sometimes. But now we can get it running, hopefully. And so we run it. Alright, so now the information is technically being pulled in, but there's no new information coming into the database. So it doesn't update the numbers in real time. So what we need to get done is to go into Python. And we'll open up a terminal, and all I gotta do is run the file, and now it starts inserting data into the Excel file, or the Access database. But this Excel file should be updating in these charts by now, and you can see the numbers change, but since it's only doing it once every half second to a second, you don't really see too many changes. So let's bump it up a little bit, and we'll start running another instance of the data generation, and then we'll do another one, and then it seems like I can handle 5 pretty easily, so we'll do 5. Alright, so it's generating all these random orders, and it's 5 insert queries every half second to a second. And then now if we go into the dashboard, we should see some more activity here. So yeah, and you can see it incrementing in this chart here. So that it will update the table, and then that table updates the pivot tables, and then the charts that are dependent on the pivot tables get updated too. So the information, this is day to day, so this is information just for today and yesterday. So today will stay the same, or yesterday will stay the same, I'm sorry, and today will increment as the orders come in. And then this is all time, so this is a combination of the 2 days, yesterday and today. And then this is a top 10 for the customers, so the information is updating, and we can keep track of a customer ID, and keep tabs on which customer is making the most purchases, and we can change this into any sort of top 10 list needed. So maybe if we're keeping track of employee performance for operations, etc., that's definitely doable. And this just keeps track of all the max unit individual items sold in these cells, and these are updating too. They just don't seem it because the max isn't going to change. And then the last piece is this pivot table that keeps track of things by color. So this is totaling out the colors amongst all the individual items, and hopefully you could use that to figure out if you need whatever materials are necessary to produce the colors, etc. So this is a real-time dashboard. More can be added to it, because in Excel you can just scroll down and you can fill all this in with all different charts, and whatever a customer or client is requesting, it can pretty much be done. And real time is a little bit trickier, because even with these labels right here, they do increment with the line, but yeah, it gets a little tight. So but yeah, put more time into it, you can pretty much do anything with this. So that is the presentation, and thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.